Let's get rolling.
Mm.
What's up?
What is up?
It's good to see you.
It is so good to see you. I know, like I said, we probably talk every day.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
it's always great. It's always great to see your beautiful mug. You know.
Yeah, we don't FaceTime often enough.
No,
Probably.
no,
Yeah.
we don't. We don't. But
Actually, maybe we FaceTime plenty, but when I see
but it's
you, it
always
makes me think
usually
I don't see you
something.
very often.
But it's always some nonsense where we're trying to. Usually me. It's not. It's not you. It's usually me saying, "Help me, Obi-Wan," because I've screwed something up in the studio that I'm needing to figure out. And so I'm calling you to help me triage it.
Yeah.
Um, used to be I could call you though and say, hey, can you come over and help me move some junk that my family can't help me with?
Yeah.
But given our current distance apart, that might be a little more challenging than right
Yeah.
now, because you had to go and up and leave California and move to the great little city of Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still a little jealous about that. I do think that there's, as we get a little bit older, things that you kind of grew up, we both sort of grew up in a sort of small town aesthetic,
Yeah.
and you get to go out and experience different things. And both of us have experienced stuff in the Bay Area and all of that. But as you get older, you start craving some of the simplicity of things. And not that Nashville is simple by any stretch at all, but I think some of the maybe the mentality there, the sort of small home vibes, the sort of focus on family and those kind of things are very present
Yeah.
in that city and the surrounding areas there, especially, and even in the South. And, when I'm younger and I'm 18 and I want to get out of my small town in Crestview, Florida, I'll pack up and go anywhere. And I did. But now in retrospect, I'm kind of looking back and going, there's some things that you miss about it,
Yeah.
So part of me is very excited that you're there. Part of me misses you, of course, and the missing to be able to kind of work in that space of writing music in the same room. But like I
Yeah.
told you, I know it's just a plane ride away, but it still makes it hard, but it's good. Like I said, it's good to kind of get to see you in these moments and be able to share a little bit. So
Yeah.
how's the city treating you?
It's been cool so far. I mean, truth be told, I haven't done as much as I would have expected to do almost a year in. It's wild how much it takes to just acclimate to a new place.
Yeah.
I'd been out here before
Mm-hmm.
for small stints of time, probably 3, 4 times over the years.
Yeah.
Not enough to really know the city, but enough to catch a vibe. And so yeah, so far it's been great. I've seen a lot of really cool music. I mean, the scene out here is pretty incredible. So I'm excited to get more tied into that. Obviously, you can't really see it behind me, but I have my studio set up here, which is far and away the best space I've ever had to record in. No
Yeah.
offense, but your garage was it
What are you
was
saying? You don't
amazing
like to
for what it
record
was.
music in a sauna? I don't understand.
It was wonderful to record in there maybe 2 months out of the year.
Hmm.
And the rest of it, it was either too cold or too hot, or spiders crawling on me or whatever. So
That's just the aesthetic, man. Like that's what it's for. It like, come on. But I
well,
will say it
we
definitely
did
drove some
our
great
first record there.
performances. Yeah, we did
Yeah,
the whole
no,
first
we
record
we
and
made it
the EP.
work.
We definitely made it work. And boy, um, yeah, if anyone was brave enough to go smell that drum throne, you'd understand all the hours spent in that space sweating profusely. That's a whole other
Yeah.
topic of
If
conversation.
you are brave enough, there's no benefit to you doing that. Just trust that it's nasty in there.
No, but we both
Not,
kind of came up. I just recently moved my studio finally, thanks to listening to you. It's only taken me a decade to do that, but to finally move the studio inside our guest room, which was basically being used as a giant closet,
Yeah.
and kind of moved inside as well. Because I kept seeing yours once you had it set up, and I'm like, man, the air conditioning, what a blessing just to have that and be comfortable and,
Air
not
conditioning
have to
is
go out
huge.
there and clean everything off from all the dust and, like you mentioned, spiders and, you know, God only knows what other
Well,
rodents are running around in there.
yeah, dude, like in the garage, you're constantly fighting. You're
All the
coming face to
elements.
face with
Yeah.
the forces of nature
Yes.
that
Yes.
being
It's some Bear
indoors.
Grylls shit,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was great. We did a lot in there.
Yeah.
I am still grateful for that time and for that space because it was needed. But
No,
it's cool
100%.
to be in a spot now where I have AC. I don't have any clutter in here. I'm really fortunate
Yep.
in that regard that the space is truly dedicated to its purpose, which is just writing and recording music in here.
Yeah.
My poor neighbors, because I do have neighbors. I'm in an apartment. They have to hear me blowing it out sometimes in here.
Yeah, but you're not doing a lot of the, like, didn't do a lot of the screaming stuff like we were here where it sounded like if you were outside, like in the movie moment of having people walk by and you're like, yeah, it's like, is somebody getting murdered inside that room? Like, what is happening inside there?
yeah,
At least we're not doing a lot of that in the moment right now. And we can talk a
yeah,
little bit about that, of course, like between first record and now, because we've had, Jesus, 6 years since we did the
yeah,
first record. We didn't
yeah,
stop making music, but 6 years from for sort of the first record that we release,
yeah.
we go through, like everybody, go through a weird pandemic, and then come back and really started working on this record. Seriously working on this record? What do you think? 2023, 2024? No,
It's
it's got
hard.
to be earlier. So 2022?
I mean, it depends on how you define it because we
Yeah, I
were
guess
writing
so.
songs for it before the last album came out.
That's true. Yeah.
And then the way that I see it is that we went through periods.
Hmm.
And so starting, cuz we were putting out Aurora,
Hmm.
and at that same time we were rehearsing a lot, and so we were also sharing ideas a lot. And so we had
Yeah.
a couple other song ideas that popped up. They were like, "Okay, let's put a pin in that." And then the pandemic hit, and pretty much right after that, we played 2 gigs, and then
Yeah.
got shut in.
Yep.
Didn't do much there for several months, but then you know had to sort of figure out how are we going to adapt to working more remotely from each other,
Yeah.
which turned out to be a really big part of how we work now. And I think it
Hmm.
was sort of necessary, even pandemic aside,
Yeah.
to be able to not like before this, we had to be in the same room at the same time to work
Hmm.
on an idea.
Hmm.
And really to even share an idea, like, yeah, I could call you or send you a little voice memo or something, but it's not the same as being able to turn up and really, explore something. And still there's pros and cons. I really
Hmm.
like being in the same room because an idea can evolve a lot faster
Yeah.
because you're working off each other in real time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, being able to at least send ideas back and forth, get on a call, talk about it, or you send an idea back, us both having a space that we can record in that's comfortable. I think that's maybe the biggest thing. It's just being able to be comfortable in a space.
Yeah.
Like when you're free, your fingers are freezing or you're just sweating like crazy.
Right.
Those aren't good conditions to really focus on what it is that you're doing.
No.
And
No.
you
It
know,
really
I,
does give some kind of it's kind of funny as we're sitting here talking, I'm thinking like there should be a reality of competition. It's a battle of the bands meets Survivor. Like they,
yeah,
like
yeah.
just grueling elements to really teach you that. But I think anybody out there, any band that's out there doing it every day, you're already in grueling conditions from working out of bands and or sprinter vans, whatever, a bus, a truck, just
Yeah.
to figuring it out. You're dealing in small establishments, bad sound guys sometimes, all the stuff that you're combating and dealing with. But
Yeah, outdoor gigs,
yeah,
those are gonna be cold
elements.
sometimes, those are gonna
Yeah.
be hot sometimes. I mean, things are rarely perfect, like being in a controlled studio setting is a huge luxury. But yeah, we definitely have some good experience, working in extreme temperatures. So
Oh yeah. But the
happy to
studios
not be doing
now,
that anymore.
yeah, I was just gonna say you know, there is sort of a beauty in everything despite what happened during the pandemic. You're absolutely right that what it forced us to do was like, we're not going to stop writing music, but
Yeah,
we have to figure out how to do this in a more efficient way for the obvious things, but also for the reasons that it wasn't ideal. And as we
yeah,
continued to sort of expand what we wanted this new record or whatever our new batch of songs to be, we just thought it could be a lot better for us to be more efficient in that space, to have places where we could work separately and use all the technology that's available to us to be able to share ideas. So shared folders and an iCloud or a Google Drive, being able to
yeah,
access a whole live session or an Ableton session with everything in it was so convenient to be able to, for us to kind of work and say, hey, here's what I got. Send me back your ideas. Let me keep working off that. So it was still very, very collaborative, but just really taking advantage of the great technology that we have to be able to do that in a way. And I agree with you, like on the sentiment of playing in the room, like I think about a song or a couple of songs that we've done for this new record. And I know we got plenty of roadmap to talk about a new record, but in writing some of the new records, some of the songs that I really resonated with were some of the ones that we did when we were able to be in the studio. I know one in particular we'll talk
mm,
about maybe down the road, but there's a song on the record that, given the conditions of the room, and also our own personal conditions on that day, we were all pretty pissed off.
mm.
Um, and the song we wrote was pretty pissed off, and it was great. It was absolutely great, and it was visceral and in the moment, and it came out of us. So
Yeah,
there are moments in which it can challenge in that space, but I also think that we really did a great job of being able to figure it out despite the circumstances and still continue the path of creating and being good partners in writing together.
yeah. Well, so let's talk about that then. Like, I know we want to do probably a couple episodes talking about different facets of
Yeah.
this record. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to share. Um, but maybe it makes sense to just start with the actual, the writing process. Um, and just to clarify for anyone who might not be aware of what we're talking about, Kevin and I are in a band called the Silver Echo, and we are the band in this
Yes,
project.
we are.
Um,
Yeah.
we do make music outside of that band, but in this case, we're talking about this new Silver Echo record, and so yeah, I mean, there's a lot about it to me that's different than last time.
Mhm.
And there's some similar threads, but I don't know where you might want to start, but I guess maybe we could start with what's different.
I
Uh,
was maybe we kind of kick in. Yeah, I think I'll use a reference because I know we both love the Foo Fighters and Dave. And there was something he talked about where in the first record was sort of like his demo tape, if you will. Like he did everything
mm,
himself. It had a very raw sort of aesthetic to it
yeah,
and immediate in the moment, just because he was so hungry to get music out in the wake of Nirvana that he just kind of came in with his buddy and they recorded something that was pretty simple and um, didn't know what it was going to turn out, and it ends up being big. So by the time he goes back in to make a second record, the idea was he wanted something that was more fully realized and bigger. And I think on some level, that's exactly what we set out to do. The first
yeah,
record in Aurora, um, and I know you may have your own thought about this, but to me, it was like
Yeah.
our ode to sort of classic rock. The Tom Petty, the
Yeah.
Foreigners, the bands the Eagles, the bands that we really love from that sort of 70s, 80s era, not just in their own music, but in their production. Like the production quality was something we were chasing. We were looking
Yeah.
for real authenticity and sound, and that led us down a path where everything we were really doing was very sort of traditional, I guess is the best way I could say it. Like we were actually miking amps, all of this kind of stuff. We weren't into the sort of fractal area or using, digital cabinets and these kind of things that we've kind of moved into, or some software instruments. We were doing a lot of like actual live instrumentation
Yeah.
with guitars and bass and sort of that and recording in that
And live
space.
performances. I think
Yeah.
that was another part of it, was trying to the most common way to record these days is you record a person at a time. You record a section at a time until you get that right and move on,
Mhm.
which is fine, but the kind of the older way to do it, and you know possibly ironically the Nashville way to do things
Right.
is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
still to do it live, to do a full take, play the entire song the way that you would if you
Right.
were playing it at a at a show. And so
Yeah.
we didn't do everything full takes, and not everything was full band, but as much as we could get that element into what we were doing, we were trying to capture reality the best that
Mhm.
we could, I
Mhm.
suppose.
Yeah, and I think a lot just that started the genesis of that was when we started working, we had built the studio in the garage. Of course, we joked about that, but the process was we needed a place to play together. I had a house, so we leveraged the garage to be able to use that, and started really building a studio in that space. And so part of it was building a studio. Part of it was us getting together and just jamming out ideas. I jokingly used to call that like
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights. Like we'd get together on Friday nights and jam after work and come up with some ideas. And so, but it was also early in our music partnership. So we were learning each other, learning what worked, learning our musical styles. So there was a lot of moments of discovery. And I think post that record, going into maybe the EP and of course during that pandemic point, where we started having to kind of record in a separate space, we also started evolving what were we going to do with our sound and the evolution of the sound in that space. And I maybe a little bit of a detour, and you can speak to some of that as well. But thinking about, we finished the record. The record was, like I said, our wank or ode to 70s and 80s style production. Then we go into pandemic. We kind of get a little angry given the environment that we were in. And so our love and taste of metal music or heavier music started coming out. And we
Yeah.
thought maybe will be an interesting direction to go. Um, so do you want to talk maybe a little bit about that and kind of how we led into, because we were
Yeah.
writing some
Yeah.
ideas, as you mentioned, we were writing some ideas that ended up becoming something on this new record. But there was a moment in between that where we kind of shifted directions and we didn't know, are we going to go in and be a metal band now? Or are we going to go back to maybe what we initially started?
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of an identity crisis there probably for a while,
Mhm.
of like we like so many styles of music that sometimes it is hard to narrow down like what it is that we want to be doing. And so we did the classic rock thing, more or less our version of that. And then the thought was, well, let's do something different. And we put out Runaways, which was like a more modern produced um, pop rock song, I
Yeah.
guess. It's
Yeah.
not particularly heavy, but, heavier than what we had done. That
Yeah.
felt good. So we pushed the boundaries a little more.
Mhm.
We did Paradigm, which I still feel like actually fits in probably the best
What we're doing.
with where we're going.
Mhm.
Heavy aspects of it, but it's not overtly metal, or it's
Yeah.
kind of almost genre confusing a little bit.
Yeah. And it's got a
You
really
know?
powerful chorus. It still
Yeah,
gets its
big
hooks in you.
hooks, Soundgarden influence in that song for sure, with some other things. So we put that out, did a video for that. You did a great job on that video.
Thank you.
So we pushed it a little further and we said, well, let's do something really experimental. And I was really into Megadeth in that period of
Mhm.
time. I mean, I'm always into
Yeah.
Megadeth, but I was in a Megadeth
Mood.
death
Yeah.
spiral.
Yeah.
and
Yes. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I was thinking like let's do something like that.
Mm.
So we put Fear on High together,
Mhm.
which was super fun.
Mhm.
And we did some things with that song that we had not done before.
Ever. Yeah.
And so then that got us thinking, how can we turn this into maybe a record and
Mhm.
let's pursue this? We wrote a handful of other songs in that similar vein,
Yeah.
and some even heavier
Yeah.
that sadly will never come out, I don't think, because we decided ultimately that it wasn't the right fit. Even though we enjoy that kind of
Mhm.
music, what we found through the process of making those songs is that we can do it, but it didn't feel right. It
Mhm.
felt like we moved really slow through those songs. Oh, sorry, give me a second here. I don't know what happened to my
That's okay.
display. Oh, uh, anyway, I'll fix it when my iPad reboots.
All good.
Um, but what was I saying? Oh yeah, we were moving really slow through the writing process, so that was sort of one idea as to
Yeah.
why it wasn't quite right. And then I don't know, it just it felt like we had gone too far, and so we
Mm.
decided we needed to right the ship and sort of scrap what we were working on to get back to a place that was a little more authentic feeling.
Yeah.
And so that was a place that was like, um I don't even know how I would describe it, because I mean, to to the listener, a lot of it you might not even notice the difference, but for me it feels more grounded in classic music.
Yeah.
It feels more based around around a chord progression than it does around a
Mhm.
riff, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, it's a little less technical, not quite as angry,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Allowing for more themes to, you know, show through in the music, I guess. Would you agree with that?
I think there was something that I have a couple of thoughts on that too. Like we were really trying to push our writing, and we were doing some very complex chord progressions, things that just felt like it was a challenge. I'll say that. Like a couple of songs that we know may never see the light of day. We probably had some of the most creative bridge section that we've
Hmm.
ever written. That's super complex, but
And maybe at some point
maybe it's a Halloween
we'll
release. We'll put back on our metal metal roots.
or we'll make another
We'll
project
make
that
another
isn't the
project.
Silver
Yeah.
Echo, where we
Yeah.
can kind of put out some of that other stuff, you know.
Yeah. But I think what was interesting to me, at least how I was feeling while we're doing this, was that um like we said, we wrote these songs, or at least the two that really and more that started getting more in that heavy direction. I don't count Runaways in that space because I do think that was one that kind of felt very much like a transitional song into what we were hoping to
Oh,
do
definitely.
for
Definitely.
this new record. But we went on a detour, and because, like I said, we were pissed off. The world was an angry, divisive, crazy place. So
Yeah.
our environment really bled into that, in my opinion. But there were points when we were starting to finish all of that where I think both you and I were coming out of that headspace, and we just wanted to experience, not that the writing of the music wasn't fun, it was just we wanted to experience something that was a little bit more light and immediate and of the moment, and maybe still borrowing elements from things that we've written. So some songs could be heavier, but some songs, I don't know how I'd say it, but I felt like in that period, maybe what changed for us was that we almost started feeling like it was pigeonholing us into this, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to be in this
Yeah.
direction now. And it's like, I don't think any one of us wanted to be Megadeth, although we
No.
have a lot of love for a lot of different metal bands.
No,
And
they
we
do
could
it better
certainly
than
talk
we
a lot
do.
about that. Yeah, but they do it better, and they've had
Yeah,
plenty of
yeah,
years of practice in it.
yeah,
But I think you and I have always loved, like, not really getting locked into a genre per se. And the
yeah,
first record, while we definitely mentioned influences there, it can be all over the place. And it kind of felt like it can belong in any sort of decade. And I think as we're
yeah,
working on this record, it's sort of, I feel like for me, we had some different things we wanted to say. We were coming out of sort of the darkness of what was going on. And we're like, I really wanted to get us back to talking about things that could feel like love and hope and
yeah,
frustrations, or how we combat these things and move through them. And there was a lot of personal stuff too. I mean, you get married during that
yeah,
time, you know?
yeah.
Um, and so there was just a lot of change and outlook that was happening. And I think we wanted our music, like anybody, to reflect our state of mind and where we were. And we had a lot more, dare I say, hope, but just more, we were just more enthused once we were getting out of that space to really get back and go, who do we want to be as a band?
Mm,
And what do we really want to say?
yeah.
And let's see what this feels like to do that. And that, I felt like it brought us back to kind of the original joy of us first starting to write that first record.
Yeah, uh, the mentality is really important for me in the approach. And so I think with what we were doing, I felt a certain amount of pressure to um, have the technicality of things be more front and center, but that's not really where I excel or what I enjoy. I'm not a I, I'm not an athlete
Mm,
player,
mhm.
right? Like I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah.
And there was a point in my life where I was really ambitious to try to, I don't know, demonstrate how good I was, or maybe how good I
Right.
wasn't.
Right.
Um, but I don't know. I wanted to feel like it was okay if I wrote a simpler song
Hmm.
and that would make sense. And I also, yeah, I don't know. I was just feeling restricted by the way that
Yeah.
we were doing it. And so, um, I think we were still able to take some of those heavy ideas. And there's definitely some of the songs on this new record that are, you know, heavy rock songs.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but I don't really think anyone is going to hear it and think metal.
No.
Whereas they might with some of the other things that we were doing before, you know?
Yeah. Do you recall, like, I was trying to think about this the other day, just to really going back to thinking about coming out of Aurora. We were already still writing because we were just on a good clip of writing. Do you
Yeah.
remember the first song that we wrote for this new record?
Well, there was a couple ideas that happened really early, and
Mhm.
if it's the first song that we finished, I think that would have been um blanking on the title. Uh, the one that you wrote. Um,
This moment?
yeah, this moment,
Yeah.
which is a working title. I'm not sure what that one will be called.
Yeah.
Um,
For,
but
for those of you listening out there, many of you probably do this, but, when you're writing a song, it doesn't always come to you yet what the title is gonna be, so we always have
yeah,
creative names like Wink at the Cops, because it felt like
yeah,
a police
yeah,
riff that was in 6/8,
yeah,
and that's ended up turning into something else called Here in the Dark, but we just thought it sounded like the Police a little bit, You know, and to be honest
At
with
the
you, I don't even
time
know
it did.
why. At the time, it did. Um,
Well,
or,
and
you know,
part of it had to do with the drum beat originally
yeah,
on that
yeah, that's
idea
right.
was a
Yeah,
very Stuart Copeland sort of
the
thing,
very,
which
yeah,
didn't turn out to be the direction we went ultimately.
no, no. But in the beginning,
Well,
when we're writing these things, it kind of feels that way. So yeah, some of these titles, I remembered what we now I think call Helping
Helping
Hand.
Hand, yeah,
Yeah,
that was the
which
other
was
one that came to mind.
codename Panama. Um,
Yeah,
which is definitely
yeah,
1000% a wink to Van Halen for those of you out there
yeah.
that love Van Halen. Um, and I think it just because it felt a little bit like had the sort of punchy chord progressions that kind of came that were just evoke that
Yeah.
feeling of Panama, just a fun sort of summer song, you know?
Well, it was the original working title of that was Panama Salute
Panama Salute. Yeah, that's
because
right.
we
Right.
were it was basically an homage of AC/DC meets we were
Van
like what
Halen.
would happen if AC/DC and Van Halen wrote a song together. And
Yeah.
so we had this verse that was kind of AC/DC ish with open chords,
Hmm.
and then the chorus at the time was very Panama sounding,
Yeah.
and that part ultimately got cut. That chorus it sounded like
Hmm.
Van Halen ish,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
uh, that song is one of the stronger songs on the record, I think now.
Hmm.
But it also is it was a labor of love. Like it took
That
so
took it. It
long
was a
to get it
journey.
right. I
Yeah.
mean, it was one of the earliest songs that we started writing and one of the very last ones that we finished.
Yep.
Um, and it went through its AC/DC sort
Hmm.
of uh, phase, and then that didn't work, and so then we tried
Well,
like
Black Crows was
yeah,
definitely
we
an
tried like a
iteration of that
southern rock
Southern
version
rock
of
thing.
it,
Yeah.
and we tried um, just a handful of different directions to try to figure it out because I wholeheartedly believe that this is a really good song. It just has to find its groove. Like it's so close, but something about it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And then, eventually just through sheer persistence, and not giving up on it, it eventually emerged into something that feels really, really great. I'm excited for people to hear that song, and
Me too.
I've I've shared it with a couple of people so far, and everyone who's heard it has been a really big fan,
Yeah.
which is
Same.
encouraging. I mean, I don't expect the people I'd share it to right now to, you know, tell me that they hate it, even if they
Right.
did. But you know
Right.
how that is, right? Like you're hoping for positive feedback,
Yeah.
which we certainly have gotten, which has been
Yeah.
great.
It's interesting too, like to think about the writing for this record, but like there are moments that, I don't know, as we're really wrapping this up and we're kind of in the stage now, it's about to go out to master and we'll
Yeah,
hopefully be able our runway is getting closer to be able to release it.
yeah. By the
It's
time this
exciting to kind of
podcast
talk
comes
about.
out, it probably will be mastered and more or
Yeah.
less like we should have some more information about it, I would think. But yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, it was it's like when you're those moments where you see sort of life pass before you, if you will, but thinking
Mm,
about all these little moments in a flash, these past 6 years of different moments in time where we were writing or different things that kind of stick out in my head as we're talking and
yeah,
remembering sitting on the ground and I decided because I couldn't play, I was often doing demos for drums. So, I fashioned
mm.
myself a utility player in that space to get the job
By the
done.
way, it's wild how much better at an instrument you can get when you have 6 years.
Yes,
Because
exactly true.
where you're at now from where you started at
Oh my
the
God.
beginning of this
Yeah.
cycle is
Yeah.
pretty remarkable. I
You had a
mean,
lot of patience
kudos
with
to
me to
you.
be like, hey, I want to play drums, man. Let me do that. I know I can play
Yeah,
keyboards. I'm
yeah,
good with that. But I needed to do something that was able to help move us along. And yeah, I remember in this one song, this moment, which we're talking about, um, I just couldn't play that speed. Like I wanted a fast song that felt like a certain
Mm,
thing, but I wasn't able to pull it off. And we were so in the idea. And that initially came from a bass riff that I had showed you.
yeah,
And I remember sitting on the ground with a drum machine on the floor in that hot ass studio, hammering out and playing that beat live.
yeah,
And just that and getting the bass locked in, we pretty much wrote that within a couple of days.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was there was a lot. I think the other thing, funny
Well, we had
enough,
everything but vocal probably in that session because I remember. uh, Okay, so one bit of context just to back us up a little bit,
yeah,
and this would be a key difference from the first record to the second one, is that in the first record, most of those songs were written from ideas that I had that I brought to
hmm
you,
yeah,
and basically we said, is there something here or not? And then
hmm
we developed it, and I would have most of a song, and then you would often write the bridge. It became
hmm
a running joke that you're the bridge guy. So it's like,
Hey,
hey, I have
Kev,
this
time.
idea.
Light
Yeah,
the bridge. Get us out
I've
of this
got a
chord progression.
chorus,
Yeah.
I've got a verse, but we need something that goes somewhere else. So
Mhm.
let's get a fresh brain on it.
Yep.
What do you hear? And then you would come up with a piece. If I remember right, on the first album, the you wrote one song, which was Midnight Train,
Yeah.
but really like it was a chord progression that you had written that I then kind of rewrote.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It went from Ryan Adams to Guns N' Roses quickly, and it's
yeah.
so much better. You know.
Well, I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy with the way that it turned out.
Oh yeah.
Um, but then if we fast forward to this album, there's a lot more collaboration of songs that came from me
Mhm.
versus songs that came from you, and I think that's a really good thing. And that probably wouldn't have happened in that way if we hadn't learned to work remotely,
Yes.
because before it was like I would come bring an idea, we would jam on it together, and then it would get kind of maybe even confusing sometimes on who wrote what.
Yeah.
And now with you empowered to just sit there whenever was
Mhm.
convenient for you and come up with ideas, you wrote This Moment,
Mhm.
you wrote Take the Flame,
Mhm.
um, you wrote, I'm blanking on our songs at this point. Let me see if
Get
I can pull
Real
up.
kind of came. I think
You
that
wrote
was
a
one.
you wrote a
It,
drum beat for that, or
and yeah,
but the
but it definitely changed. So
but
yeah,
that
that's probably not fully.
the song of that was me, because I had
Yeah.
that idea for a
Yeah,
while,
that's
the
true. Oh, that's right.
kind of thing.
See, it's very
So
difficult for us to remember.
yeah, so but that song is called The Wheel that you were just talking
Yeah, the
about.
wheel. That's what it was. Yeah,
Um,
code name. We're still stuck in code names for that.
it,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's
Toxic Heroes was a group effort.
yeah,
Um, oh, Tailspin. You wrote Tailspin,
oh yeah,
which is a really interesting song on here.
yeah.
And then of course your normal not collaborations. That's not the word I'm looking for, but contributions
Contributions.
to
Yeah.
the other songs, because it's still a thing where we all we kind of get to play a role on each other's songs,
Mhm.
but that was a big difference from
Yeah,
record one to two, was just the comfortability of contributing ideas. I think at least I saw that from you. I'm sure you probably feel that way about it, or you feel some way about it.
I definitely
Um,
the Take the Flame. Um, I remember like finishing that song and thinking, this is the most fully realized demo that I'll have ever done for Justin, because most of the time it's just going to come out that I might have an idea. It's going to be half cocked. And
yeah,
again,
that's
to
true.
talk about this for the people listening, I'm very more comfortable to just send all of my idea. I just like to live in that space, and if there's a spark that comes from that, or if Justin hears something he likes, then I'll go, okay, cool, we're on the right track. I'll keep working on it. I'll keep revising it. But
Yeah.
Justin will often send me things that are what I feel to be almost like, well, that's the whole damn song. What do you need me to do? Like, you've done pretty much everything here. Or he'll get it as far as he can, or as far as you can, and we'll go from there. But I turned in or send you Take the Flame.
Yeah.
And I think your response, you called me back. I remember that day because it was you and your wife listening to the song, and you're like, dude, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what to do. So, because it was
Yeah.
weird. I remember you talking about that and saying, this is so weird because I'm used to be the one that's writing it and you're filling in the spaces where I
Yeah.
might get stuck or I might need a better bridge or I'm not sure where to take the idea. But I thought, oh, this is interesting because I handed you
Or
something
even
that had
just
no
writing
guitar.
parts.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
parts.
even
Yeah.
just writing parts, like typically the guitar gets written first and then you figure out how keys work around that.
Yeah.
This was the opposite. There's a bunch of keys and now I have to figure out how to fit guitar into this. It was different for me in the way that we've normally worked. It was kind of the opposite, and it yielded a really good result though. So
Absolutely.
as much as I was lost in that moment, it worked out.
That was one that I know initially there was something there, even in our writing for this, and I think it's important to share. That song in particular pushed you in a different direction. There's definitely things on this record that feel well, there's certainly things on this record that feel very intimate, and there are things on this record where you were really trying different things, different maybe characters, if you will, to evoke a certain
Yeah.
feeling or emotion or emote in a different way.
You're talking
And
about vocally?
yeah, I think there was
Yeah.
a lot of vocal things that you really pushed yourself on in this record that'll show up. And again, not that anyone might care, but I think from record to record, you will notice an enormous amount of growth in your vocal range, your ability, but also the comfortability in your voice and what it can do. It just sounds so effortless in places. Helping Hand, when we're talking about that song, or Panama Salute, um, has one of the best choruses to me that we've ever written. And really I mean, because it really comes out in the vocal performance, just how great that song sounds. Take the Flame is another one where I think in the initial, if I remember when we're doing the vocals, you're like, man, I don't know if I feel comfortable in this sort of space of this character or what it is. It felt a little different to you in that moment. I remember when we were cutting the vocals for that, and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get out there and sort of evoke this thing, but I don't know where it's going to go. So even then it was very
Yeah.
nerve-wracking for me because I'm like, I finally got a song across like the whole song. And I was so proud of
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, damn it, please don't reject this song. We got to get
Yeah.
through it. We're going to push through this together.
Yeah.
We're going
Yeah.
to figure this out. Cause I know like sometimes when you're doing it and we're just beating a wall, we'll pause on songs and sometimes they won't make it. They won't survive that sort of grueling process of you and I putting it through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And I know that was one where we really did fight to make it special. And there's a lot of hidden
Well,
truths in
yeah.
some of that stuff that was going on, some pain that was happening during that time for me that really wanted me to get it over the finish line. Um,
Yeah.
you know, but that's for another day. But the good news is, we did it and we saw it and saw it through. And it is still one of my favorites on the record. And I go back and forth every day because there's a different one every day, but that one still lives up there for me, and I'm very proud of what we did. It sounds incredible to me.
Yeah. It's a fun song. I
Yeah, it
think
is.
that's
It
what's
is.
cool about it. It's a fun song. It has a good message. Which really like we won't dive into all the lyrical interpretation, but basically the point of the song is to face difficulties and don't give up. And persevere through hardship. And so it's this kind of uplifting, optimistic um, sort of song that is kind of like a dancey rock song,
Yes.
if that makes sense. It's this kind of four on the floor feeling, uh, like if yeah, I don't know. That's
I
the
felt
best way I
like
can explain it.
I think I told you this too, and again, we'll always. I think we're never we're unapologetic about our references and what we love, and that one feels like '80s era Ozzy, like the
Mm,
blonde
yeah.
Bark at the Moon or
Okay.
Ultimate Sin
Yeah.
level Ozzy. Like if Ozzy
Yeah.
were doing a song that had a four on the floor beat to it. And now, of course, with the guitars in there, I think everyone will hear it, kind of understand what I'm getting to. But it's just kind of got a vibe that I could hear him. All right now, like just going
Yeah.
off and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
doing his Ozzy thing. So I don't know. For me, it evokes
Yeah.
'80s era Ozzy. I don't know why, but it does. It just has that feeling to me.
Well, yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Um, yeah, but it also takes influence from
Well, Stevie
Fleetwood
Nicks.
Mac.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Edge of 17, Stevie Nicks. That's
Yeah.
definitely a
Yeah.
place I think that I was like,
Yeah,
I wanted
Stevie
something that
Nicks.
feels like, that whole little
Yeah.
intro to that song. I wanted something that was like that and kind of had that vibes. You could dance to it, but it was also a rock song.
Totally. Yeah. So, yeah, so that one I'm excited for people to hear that one. I'm excited for people to hear the whole record, but I think
Oh,
that one's
yes.
probably one of the more accessible songs.
Hmm.
And it's hard not to, just kind of, at least want to move a little bit to it.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, at
Yeah.
least for me, when I put that in the headphones and I'm doing chores or whatever, checking mixes, that one I often find myself dancing to in my kitchen or wherever.
Oh, yeah. So get your little
Yeah,
groove on.
yeah, I
That
can't
is
help it.
in and of itself a little bit of a different direction for us because in the flavor of a, and I think maybe, I've written down a kind of a question, but thinking about like what was there a moment when I was like something that could define what this record could be? Because I think when we finally got that and really heard it fully realized, I'm like, oh, the gloves are off. We can go in any damn direction we feel. And I think listening
It
to
did
that
open the
song and
floodgates quite a
yeah,
bit.
that song and
Yeah.
this moment and then Helping Hand are vastly different from each other. Um,
Yeah,
but they're all
totally.
just kind of all over the place. Tailspin is another one that's just like that would not typically be a song that I think we would have probably thought to write together 6 years ago. But here we
No,
are,
no.
and it's got
Well, that
horns
was
in it
another
and
one
all
that
this
made
stuff.
me
There's like,
uncomfortable. That
oh
that
yeah,
was an
yeah.
because I'm going. How would I say this? Like there, I heard you play the idea and immediately thought it was a good idea, so didn't have an issue with that. But then where it took me as a songwriter felt so different from things that I'm used to doing. It's like, what would I want to hear on this?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what I'd want to hear, I can write an idea like that.
Mhm.
But then when it comes time to actually demonstrate it, I'm like, well, this almost feels like something I would have written for somebody else, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Or I don't know whether it makes sense for me to like I've never seen myself wear that type of clothes. I don't know if I look good in those kind of
Yes.
clothes, right? It's like if
Yeah.
you've never worn a suit, you're going, am I going to look like James Bond? Or am I
Mhm.
going to look like some idiot wearing his dad's suit?
Like a chump.
Um,
Hey, like a chump. Hey. Yep.
but that question really comes to mind, at least for me it does,
Yeah.
as someone who often overthinks things that I shouldn't. And so then you get in the moment and you're saying, okay, well, since I haven't done this, I know what it sounds like in my head, but I've never had to actually do this, so I don't even know
Mhm.
if I can.
Mhm.
And then if I can, does it even make sense for the band? So you're like 10 layers deep in self-doubt and questions because it's outside of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
or at least it was outside of my comfort zone. And then you're kind of going, well, let's take the Rick Rubin approach where we're not going to prejudge anything here.
Mhm.
We're not going to assume what shape the record is supposed to take until all the songs are done.
Yeah.
And so let's just do it. And if it sounds good, it is good. If it
Mhm.
makes the cut, it makes the cut. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Mhm.
Either way, we stand to lose nothing really because
Mhm.
we're gaining experience and you're not going to break new ground or get better if you just keep doing the things that are safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
And I have at this point I have a pretty good idea of the things that my voice does well. Um, but I think it would be a disservice to me as an artist, as a creative person, to just stay in that lane forever.
Yes.
Some people may prefer that prefer that I stay
They
in that
find what
lane.
works or well,
I don't
yeah.
know. Well, yeah, there's that too, right? There's something to be said for artists who find their thing and then they just do that. And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that either, right? Like you could say
Yeah.
that about AC/DC. But when you're that good at a thing, you shouldn't be doing anything else. And I
No.
don't think I'm on that level.
I don't wanna hear them do Queen, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't you know what I
No,
mean? I
no.
don't or,
Well,
it's
maybe we would.
I don't know. Maybe,
Hard to
maybe
say.
so. I
Hard
don't
to
know, dare
say.
I say. It's hard to say. I
Yeah,
do remember
yeah.
when you
Might
dropped
be amazing.
the vocals for that song now, going back to those sort of fast moments coming by, thinking
Yeah.
about this record. Um, you were at home because we were working more remotely at that time.
Well, we had just done a podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
You showed me your idea for
Yeah,
this after the
after we did the
podcast. Or I
podcast.
think you had sent me a voice memo of the key, like a piano version, I
Yeah,
want to say, maybe the night before.
yeah,
And then I asked you, like, hey, can you, since you're here, break this down with me so that I can get a feel
that's
for
right. I was
what it
drumming on
would
my
be.
leg and talking
Yeah.
to kind of how
Yeah.
this was gonna play out or what
Yeah.
sort of the vibe of the song and the sort of meter or feeling of the song.
Right.
And I remember this one when I was at a restaurant with some friends that were visiting us, my wife and I, and I think we were in Santa Cruz, and you sent me and like, "Hey, does this guitar stuff sound good?" And I was like, "Hell yes." That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And because again, we listen to a lot of the same stuff, but we also have different tastes as well. And I'd listen to a ton of Arctic Monkeys. I love Spoon, the band Spoon, like,
Yeah.
and so I wanted something that kind of felt in that vibe, but I never said that to you because it wouldn't be I mean, obviously, like everybody probably knows the biggest Arctic Monkeys record,
Yeah.
but I was like, it was something about Alex Turner that I was really trying to get to, and I never said that to you up front,
Yeah.
ever.
You told me Black Keys,
I
I
said Black
think.
Keys, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and initially and even now, I think even when you hear it, it kind of evolved in that space. The
Yeah.
first
Sure.
demo, which I love, and maybe we'll find a time to put that first one out, definitely leaned in on the Alex Turner vibe. And it
Yeah.
was so sexy and cool, but almost to the point where I'm sure even for you,
It
it's
was
like,
too
this is a
sexy. It's too
little too
sexy.
sexy. This is
Yeah.
it's really gonna hurt our population out there of listeners. They're gonna go, "Oh, man. Whew, okay.
Yeah.
Feeling a little hot.
Gotta turn that down.
Gotta
It's too
turn that
sexy.
heat off.
It's
It is
too sexy.
way too sexy, Jackie Moon." So, anywho,
Yeah.
it ended up
Yeah.
the evolution of that basically it turns into a really kinda great bluesy type song, um, but it had so many different iterations along the way, and I
Yeah.
love the journey of that. Like, I'm always excited because you never really know until you know. Or I think maybe until we say, "Okay, that's the final, final, final for all time final." Um, and even
Right.
then, we still go back in and tinker with it. But it's like in the writing process, to me, the discovery, what's coming around every corner, because you don't know what's next. So this part of collaboration, what's sort of fun in this way of working remotely is you'll send something to me and you have no idea. You'll know my taste, so you might know what to imagine, but then I send something back and you go, "Oh, you took it in a place I didn't know it was gonna go." And same for you. Like if I hear
Yeah.
something come to me and it's like, oh wow, now that is a really cool idea and definitely not a place where I thought it would go. Like I said, when I heard the vocals on that for the first time, when you actually laid vocals onto that song,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, this is nothing like anything you've ever done. And
Well,
I was
right. Yeah.
like
And you see why I was
tearful with,
nervous.
yeah, so tearful with joy, just overjoyed in that moment because I'm like, oh man, it just further exemplified like we are not putting any sort of label on anything. We're just going to write what
Yeah.
feels good and trust that our instincts in that are right. And it's really made for a record that I'm so proud of and so excited to get out for people to hear and put it out in the
Yeah.
world so that other people can share the same joy that you and I had making it, you know?
What do you think was like the toughest song for you to write or work on? Like what gave you personally the biggest challenge, do you think?
Thinking that um I think there was some really well sending me your version like of Forgotten Man and I'm like again this is so fully realized I didn't know where to take
Mm,
it. I didn't know
mm,
what to do with it because it was a fully completed idea. And so I was like,
yeah.
I just don't really know if I want to touch it. So sometimes it isn't necessarily about the difficulty in the song, but it's also me hearing it and going, I don't really want to mess with it. Toxic Heroes was another one because we wrote that in space. And I'm like, there's just such an immediacy about it.
Well,
It
and you
didn't,
wrote that on bass too.
yeah, and
So
it
your
didn't really
contribution
need,
was yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
slamming the bass.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like maybe Rest Easy was one that took a
Mm,
long time. That was another one, code name Empty Walls, that we started,
no.
right? Wasn't it?
No, Rest Easy is Rest
Oh,
Easy.
sorry, Rest Easy is Rest Easy, but
Empty Walls
Empty Walls
became
Here in the Dark,
Away From Us.
Away from Us. Sorry, there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll remember our own songs.
I
But
don't know that
yes,
I ever will. I
I
don't know that I
it's
ever.
been so hard
Yeah.
because we've gone on these forever. But Away From Us was a very challenging song for us to get across. We just kept getting stuck in the same place. And I think
Yeah.
we both knew that there was something very special about it.
Well, we
There's
had a clear
something,
vision for where
yeah,
we wanted it to go.
it just couldn't get there. I just couldn't figure out how to get there until we did.
Yeah, neither could
Um,
I.
and it was very frustrating. I think I don't call it writer's block. It's just sort of like you've reached a wall in the song and you go, I don't know what to do with this. And it had so, I remember playing these demos to you a few weeks back. I'm
Yeah.
like, do you remember we did this one? This is all like electronic. So there was one version that was very
Yeah.
electronic heavy. We just kept trying different things. Say Something on the first record was one that was like that. It was incredibly
Mm.
challenging to write. And the song now, when you listen to it, it's so not simple is kind of insulting, but there's
Yeah,
something
I
so
mean it
sort
is
of
though.
understated and simple about the
Yeah.
song. And it went
It's
all
about the lyric, you know?
over the
Yeah.
place. Yeah. We jokingly said at one point that was going to be like our uh, African Child, like the Get Him to the Greek reference, you know? Like it just had everything in the kitchen
Yeah.
sink in it, and it was like, "This is terrible.
Yeah.
We gotta strip this
Yeah.
down to the foundation." Away
Yeah.
From Us or Empty Walls had a really good immediate idea, and you had a really great couple of lines that you had written, but
Yeah.
then every time we just got stuck, and I think it took us listening to a couple things and trying to figure out where it was gonna go, and we finally got that sort of chord progression that allowed us to it really opened up the rest of that song. And then it became
Yeah.
much easier, but until that space, that was a challenging song for us to get through. But now it's
Yeah.
also one of my favorites.
Well, that song
Um,
is immense. I
it
mean, it
is
was a
so
huge
good.
undertaking and it was it's the longest song on the album and on purpose.
Yeah, it
Like
takes
the
people to
goal,
church
yeah, I mean, we
in a
wanted to
great
do
way.
something that was drawn out.
Mhm.
You know, like another band that we really love is the War on Drugs. And whereas they have this very like Dylan, Bob Dylan
Mhm.
sort of influence, and we don't sound like that band, but we wanted to do our version of something that they might do, which are these
Mhm.
big, like, for the rafters, spacey,
Mhm.
emotional, convicted, you know, uh
Guitar jam for days. Um,
yeah, like
like
something that just feels like it's okay that we slow down and take our time.
Mhm.
You know, we're not trying to write a pop song per se. We're trying to take you on a journey, and the lyrical concept was always really strong with that, which is like, if you've ever moved, which I imagine most people have,
Mhm.
if you've ever left a place that you've lived in for a while, um, you get this weird feeling as you're moving, but especially when you're
Yeah.
doing those last couple trips where like everything's basically gone, and you have this moment where you are kind of staring at all these empty walls that used to have,
Mhm.
you know, like photos on them or artwork, and the TV used to be over there. You know, you go in the bedroom, oh yeah, there used to be a bed there. Or,
Mhm.
you know, you're kind of looking at a place that you recognize but you don't recognize,
Yeah.
and you have this weird nostalgia. Um, and so the idea was to sort of capture that feeling in a song the best that we could. And this is where I get hung up a lot when we write, and why not having the right chord progression was so tough is it's very hard for me to write, like, we'll put it this way, the chords and the underlying harmony of the chords very much inform what the lyrics should be to me. Uh it's not that I've never written a song without music before, like lyrics without music before, because I have,
Yeah.
but that's not natural to me.
Mhm.
My ideas sort of, I've used this analogy with you a lot. When it comes to songwriting, I'm more of a sculptor than, I don't know what the opposite of that would be, but I always feel like the idea is like a block of marble,
Yeah.
and I just have this intuitive sense of if there's a song in there or not. That's why some ideas resonate with me immediately, whether they're really fleshed out or whether they're still really basic, where I'll have this feeling that like, oh no, that's a song. Like I just
Mhm.
know that's a song. I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you why I know that, and I couldn't even tell you what it's going to sound like necessarily, because usually it'll evolve multiple times before it gets to the end. But I have this intuitive sense that there's something in there, something about it is speaking to me. And so now it's my job to go chipping away at the granite and trying to figure out what it is, you know, let it kind of reveal itself, I suppose. Now we're getting a little bit pretentious, but that is how I feel about it. And
Just don't say you're a storyteller.
yeah,
I craft
um,
artful stories. I'm a story. No. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you.
Don't get me on that.
Um,
But yeah, I do I do
but
understand, you know.
but you go through that process, and so, and a big part for me is then, like, you know, you have your initial idea, and it's finding other complementary ideas that help evolve so that you can connect the dots that need to be connected.
Yeah.
And it's all an intuitive thing. Sometimes you can intellectualize it and be like, okay, well, maybe, you know, if this part's hot, this other part should be cold.
Mhm.
Maybe that, you know, you can kind of
Right.
say that. But with that song, we wrote, because it's basically an A section and a B section. We
Mhm.
had the A section, and the question was, what's the B section going to be?
Mhm.
And we probably wrote three or four different ones.
Mhm.
And to where it's like, okay, yeah, I like that. And I'd go back, I'd take the idea, and I would try to write the rest of the lyrics or the rest of the melodies, and just feel like I was banging my head against a wall. It's like, man, I don't know
Mhm.
why I can't do it. And
Mhm.
then once we got to where it is now, so I remember you playing it, hearing the motif that, it starts off that chorus and just going, that's what I've been looking for.
Mhm.
And I remember very quickly the rest of the song
No,
kind
it
of
just
just
went.
like, it just unraveled right
Yeah.
there. And
It's
it,
like lightning in a bottle in that moment. It's so
yeah,
exciting to
yeah, because
have
it's
that.
frustrating because you're going, man, is it that I suck
Yeah.
and I can't figure out what's
Yes.
going on here? I
Yeah.
can't write, or
Yeah.
is it that we just haven't found the right thing? And your gut's telling you just haven't found the right thing yet.
Yes.
But you're wondering, like, can I trust my gut on this? Because
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just telling myself that, and really what I need to do is just buckle down and write the song. But I don't like that. I that feeling that I get when it's like, oh, you should just push through and write it. I'm
Mm.
glad that I rarely do that
Mhm.
because, especially if I really believe in an idea, every time that I've just let it take the time that it needs, it's ultimately gotten where it needs to go. Because,
Yeah.
like, I would hate to have a really great part that excites me turn into a song that never comes out
Mhm.
because it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I wrote it.
Yeah.
I checked the box. Like I wrote another section, I
Right.
finished some lyrics and wrote a melody, but somewhere along the line it lost its way and it kind of
Yes.
lost touch with me. And so it doesn't really even matter that you finished it. It's like, what good is it to have a finished song if it's not
Mhm.
right, you know?
Mhm.
And I was frustrated with that song for a long time. But it felt amazing to get it where it was supposed to be, you know?
There were moments there. This will be a random reference, maybe for our listener, but um, I keep going back. There's a favorite moment in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he's playing the character Rick Dalton, and he screws up his lines. And he's got this little girl in there in his scene that
Yeah.
just shows him up, and it shows him
Yeah.
coming into his trailer, and he just smashing everything around, just has a full meltdown,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is one of the
It's a
best
great
scenes
scene.
in that movie by
Yeah.
far. And I go back and watch that so much because it's very illustrative of exactly how I feel in certain moments in time where you just feel like an absolute failure and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just can't, and you just question everything. And like, am I just a shitty musician? Can I just not write songs
Yeah.
anymore? Is that what I
Yeah.
just can't write a song? I might as well just quit
Yeah.
because I don't know how to write a song. And you just get into
Or
that
you don't
sort of
even know what you're
spiral.
looking for. So how do
Or
you
what are
know
you
you
trying to
haven't
do?
found
Or
it? Or
yeah, what am
yeah.
I trying to say?
Yeah.
Am I being
Yeah.
pretentious? Am I some pretentious asshole now writing asshole
Yeah.
music? Like, and all this kind of weaving of self
Yeah.
doubt
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of
Totally.
that festers in you for a while. But eventually you come to your senses and go, is this a song I really believe in or not? And I think all of the songs that we've been able to finish, even ones that like I said, or like we've talked about, we don't know yet where they're going to go or what may come of them. And some we don't feel
Yeah.
like are fully the best product that we could create. They just checked a box, to your point.
Yeah.
But the ones that are here that made it through sort of our own blender, if you will, I think there's something that's really important for anybody that's in a writing partnership is like both people or all three or all five or 10 or however many really do have to find a place where it can be a shared agreement that yes, these are good. These make the cut. These are good songs. And I think
Yeah.
once we've gotten these out there and really started to realize that this was a record, um, there's a lot of songs on there that we were just incredibly proud of. And I know we worked really hard. We've only touched on a few, and I'm sure there's plenty of podcasts to go that we could talk about other stuff and other songs. But I know we really want to save a lot of it for the people to get to hear it because it becomes yours once it comes out into the world. And
Yeah.
how you interpret it, what you hear from it, what it does for you, how it motivates you, how it makes you feel. Those are your emotions to have. We're just the people that get the pleasure of being able to kind of create in that space. And I know just to put a bow tie on the whole thing, I'm super grateful that in 6 years since the last record, we've just never closed the door.
Yeah.
And there's so much underneath that statement that I know we can talk about in another podcast or another time. But just the fact that we're still sitting here today, even though we're 2,700 miles away, but
Yeah.
still writing music to this day, and still actively focused on continuing to do this thing, is just a testament to our resilience and our love of working together. It's like a brotherhood in that space, and it means a lot to me. It really does, to have a person that shares a similar vision, that wants to do things, that is very, headstrong and focused in that way. And um, we obviously have our own arguments and debates and discussions and things, but we've done that to create something that we're very proud of in the end of the day. And whether it's the art, whether it's the videos, whether it's the music itself, we want the thing to evoke the same feelings that we had when we listened to music for the first time in whatever medium we listen to. Just to have that sort of excitement, the hair on your arms stand up when you hear a song and you get excited, or you're singing the lyrics in the car at full volume, while someone's looking at you at the stop sign,
Yeah.
while you're just
Classic.
belting it out, living your best life. I mean, that's the thing that keeps me awake at night thinking about new stuff, and it keeps me motivated to keep wanting to do this thing,
Yeah.
because it isn't easy. I mean, for anybody out there that knows that, it's like working bands, people writing music. It's not easy to do that stuff. It's not easy to sit down and just say, "Yep, today I'm going to write a song." Okay, what's that really going to turn into?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a difference between writing a song. I think anyone can write a song. You could write a song in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a difference between just writing something in the same way that anyone can write a story, right? But not everyone's Stephen King. It's there are different levels to this, and I think when you're trying to really make art and you're having to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, is this genuinely what I want to say? And I don't just mean with the lyrics, but I mean with the music, with all of it, with how it's put together. Does it really reflect who I am, or what I believe in, or what excites me, or what I think is cool? Or is it just something I made? Um, Not that just making something is bad, and sometimes the things that you don't put that much thought into turn out to be great. And the irony is that a lot of times those things do reflect your parts of yourself that you didn't realize you were reflecting, and that's why it's great. And other people can see that. But I don't know, one other thing that I wanted to share was I think probably the single biggest thing that I learned writing this record was how to not give up, which sounds kind of stupid to say it that way, and maybe it is kind of stupid to say it that way. One of the hardest things for me is pushing through when it's not working. It's so demotivating. Like, oh my God. And so part of why I think it took us so long to write this record is that what comes easy, I think, to both of us is new ideas.
Oh yeah.
New ideas are cheap. Like they come easy. They come easy. Like
Knock on
you,
wood, they come easy right now.
you can sit
Yeah.
there and jam on a guitar or find a couple of chords that work. It's very rare that I can't sit down and come up with something that feels like a nugget of something that could be cool, right? Not everything I make like that turns into a song, but you know what I mean, right? Like you sit down, it doesn't take a long time to get something that excites you. What's hard is once you've found something that excites you, you built it out and you're like 70% of the way there, 80%, 90%, or whatever percentage you are, you're too far to want to give up on it. Or at least your integrity tells you, I can't give up on it because I know there's something great here.
Yeah.
But also what I'm doing right now to finish it does not work. And I don't have the answer to what works. And that's when what I've started to get a lot better at. And I think this album forced me to do it, because I think we got a bunch of songs to that place where it's like, these are all really cool. We believe in these. We think these are going to be great songs. They're just not great songs right now. Uh,
Yep. Yeah.
and maybe it's something with the vocal, or it's chord progression, or this guitar part doesn't really work, or this section loses steam. And so you end up getting to a place where you're like, well, I mean, we need to write more songs anyway. So why don't we just put this on the back burner until we have a good idea for it, and we'll just work on something else. And I think early in the process, that's probably not a terrible idea, because you do need to just keep writing. And so
Yeah.
if that keeps you efficient, then great.
Absolutely.
But at a certain point, that becomes a big problem, because then you're sitting there and you've got a stack of unfinished things that are all a challenge. And the only way that you're going to make it through is to put in the time, put in the energy, and be willing to have it perpetually not work until it does, and not let it get you down. Because for me, I can tell you, like, especially, we talked about Helping Hand at the beginning, and maybe it's fitting to talk about it at the end. It's a song that the hang up with it, of all the iterations we did, was the vocal. For whatever reason, it was like, is it the lyrics? Is it the melody? Is it the delivery? Is it the key? Is it like, what
Right.
is it? And so you have to try 5,000 different things. And sometimes in the process of doing that, you find out what the problem is early, and something clicks. But sometimes it's not until the 5,000th thing that you tried before it's like, there it is. There's the light bulb, Edison.
Yeah.
And so, that required me being in this room, actually, singing that same song over and over and over, and recording a million different takes, trying to find something that was going to work. Because sometimes when something is just like maybe a good analogy is flying, right? Like if you're in an airplane and you're bearing, if I fly from here in Nashville to California and the pilot's bearing is off by a degree, by the time I cross that 2,700 miles or whatever, I'm going to end up nowhere close to my ultimate destination. I was only 1 degree off at the start, but you take that over a greater distance and it becomes a big problem. And so sometimes it's not that you're way off. Sometimes it's just, you got to find the pocket. And that requires kind of loosening up and not being so caught up in just getting it done, thinking, man, I've been working on this song forever. I really want to complete it. It shouldn't be this hard. Getting too caught up in the details instead of just being in the moment and trying to find, okay, where's the pocket? Where can I fit in that this is going to really make sense? And a lot of these songs had those moments for me, and I think ultimately have made me a much better writer, because it's recognizing that it's okay if it's not working. It just takes some time.
Yeah.
Just be willing to put in the time. There's no substitute for that. Time and energy. Like, not everything is going to be a lightning bolt. You get the whole song in one shot. There are some of those. Forgotten Man is one of those songs on this record where it came in like an hour or two. I had the whole thing. Like, it was immediately there. I performed it a couple of times to get a decent take in a voice memo on my phone. And I sent it to Kevin, and how you hear it is basically
Pretty darn close to what it was.
Identical. It's just a full band playing it.
Yeah.
And, so you have those, but then you have others that are labors of love and require a lot more work. And I would say, if you're working on something, and it doesn't even have to be a song, but, if you're putting your heart into something and you really believe in it, don't give up on it. Not everything is going to be, that divine inspiration. And that's great when that happens. But you can't be overly reliant on that, because that's not the only way to get to the end goal. And I think in the past, and maybe that just speaks to my lack of experience in that, you overly rely on those moments where you kind of get the lightning strike. But if you do that, it's going to take forever to have enough work to show for your time. So
Yeah.
that was huge for me. And the only other thing that really I wanted to mention about the writing is, and I hope this comes through for everybody. Certainly not every song is a positive, uplifting song.
Yeah.
Don't want to give you that impression. There's a couple of negative ones on there.
We're not always positive, uplifting people.
No, but at the same time, I distinctly felt writing this record like I wanted to do my best to bring a positive outlook, even in the songs that are kind of negative. It's almost like Tough Love, and in fact, I think that was a working title for one of the songs.
Yeah,
because this speaks to a post-pandemic world. It speaks to especially here in the United States, like a divided political climate, to all the different things that we come into contact with. There's so much negativity, and there's so much getting sucked into that. And I think, I don't know, not that I felt responsibility, but I just felt like I wanted to put some more, I don't know, optimism into the world, some more fun, some more joy, some more care. And to do it in a way that's still rock and roll, to do it in a way that is still authentic to who we are, that doesn't feel cheesy. It's not about that. It's just about, I've always tried to write lyrics that were really honest. And it doesn't mean I haven't written a story here or there or something that was just kind of cheeky and fun.
Right.
But most of these things are deeply reflective of something that I care a lot about, or I'm thinking a lot about, or that I'm going through. So it still needed to fit within that. But I didn't want people to leave listening to this feeling bummed out or negative or frustrated. I wanted people to listen to this and feel like, I don't know, a little lighter maybe. And like there's still people out there who are trying to make the world a little bit better in their own way.
Yeah.
And so that maybe if we all try to do that, and again, this is cheesy and corny, but I guess I am what I am, that maybe other people would, I don't know, follow suit or feel, if they're already doing that, to feel encouraged that other people are in the trenches with them, and that we don't have to let the world fall into endless infighting and negativity and divisiveness and all these other things. I mean, there's a lot of important stuff happening in the world. I'm not going to argue with that or take a side, but just to remind us that we're all people trying to do our best, and that we got to take care of each other. And that we do make a difference with the actions that we take and the work that we contribute. So anyway, long-winded, so sorry, Kev, but
no, I love that. I think just to wrap us on this as well, it's like writing is a journey, and a journey that evokes not only the process of, as musicians, to really articulate what you're trying to say, but also being more aware and more in tune with your life as it's happening. Because it is very reflective of where we were, our moments in time. I heard a thing, and I'll maybe close this out with this. You're not to get us on the topic of Bush, because I know you maybe aren't as big of a fan as I am, but Gavin Rossdale said something on
I thought it was like George W. Or,
yeah, not that Bush. Yeah, the band. We'll get into another podcast about our love and hate for different bands that we like. But again, a guilty pleasure, not even guilty pleasure. I like the band. I think he writes great music.
I don't have any issue with Bush. I just really haven't ever listened to them. So I don't have much of an opinion.
But Gavin said something, that I did take to heart. I thought it was really interesting. He was sharing something on the radio, and he's like, they asked him, 20 something years into his band and to writing and all this kind of stuff, like, how does he still find energy to play, Machine Head or Swallowed or anything that he's done, Glycerine, all these songs, big hits that he had, and he's like, when I wrote them, I was in a time and place where I had something to say in that moment. And as I play them now, my life has evolved and changed. So those songs means something completely different to me
Mm.
in this
Yeah.
moment in time. And that's how every single day, every time I get to play them or perform them or go back and hear them now as a listener, it's taken me to a different place. And a lot of times I'll hear my own song, not even think that it's me that wrote that, and just find myself relating to this person who has
Mm.
something to say. And I'm 40, 50 years, old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's like listening to his 20-year-old self.
Mm.
And he goes, but what he's saying then means something completely different to me now. And it's a bit of a head trip, but it's something he's like, it really keeps the freshness in the songs because every single year, every single minute, every single day, these songs begin to evolve and take new life and become different as people hear them. Great
Yeah.
books, great art evolves with the time, and people
Yeah.
find substance in them years and years and years and years from now. So to bow tie this, being able to parent these songs with somebody and get them out, I think is very important, obviously to us because it's getting out things that we need to say and exercising our own demons and thoughts and emotions about the world and each other and all of this stuff. But when people hear them, they get to make that their own and it becomes their own experience. And I think that's such
Yeah.
a special thing that really can help us all somewhat come together. Not to be hippy dippy, but it's like music does unite people.
Yeah.
And because they all know like the human condition is such that we share very similar things, no matter what country you're in, who you are, what race you are, what you believe. We all have those shared things. And it's just special. Being able to have the gift to write music and certainly the gift of having to be able to do that and experience that with someone that you love and appreciate um, is just very special. And I don't take that for granted. It's a responsibility that I love to be part of. And I'm going to keep doing it until the wheels fall off.
I love that. Well, I guess we'll wrap it there. You think?
Yeah, that feels good.
I would say thank you for listening. If you made it this far, we appreciate it. I guess if you didn't make it this far, we're still grateful, but you won't know that. Uh, if you would like to check out the band, go to thesilverecho.com. You can find all of our links to social media, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. Stay in touch with us there. If you want to learn more about the podcast, if you want to be a guest, you want to recommend a guest, you have an idea for a topic, anything like that, we are open to that stuff. So, thesonicalchemy.com, as well as we're on YouTube and X, I believe. So yeah, check us out in any of those places. Stay in touch. We'd love to hear from you and hear your ideas for the show. Obviously, if any of this content connected with you in some way, we'd love to hear that as well. We wish you all a wonderful day. Kev is, I guess this is going to date this episode, but you're about to go see a show tonight. You want to tell the people before we leave what that is?
Yes. We're going to see Metallica in their most recent tour. Ice Nine Kills and Limp Bizkit opening up for them as well.
Mm.
Two-night bill, Suicidal Tendencies and Pantera opening on Sunday night for the second night of their two-night shows. Obviously, I love all of those bands for different reasons, but yeah, super excited to get some inspiration there from some veterans in the metal world, but also really excited to see Limp Bizkit, to be honest with you. I've fallen in and out of love with that band, but I'm back
Yeah.
in love with them and just appreciate what they do and not taking things too seriously, but just having a good time.
Yeah.
So on that, I will bid you all adieu.
Yeah, have fun at the show. Maybe next episode you can tell us how it was.
Yeah.
And for the rest of you at home, have a wonderful day. We will see you later.
See ya.